Okay, so here's our game plan. We're going to start with the Black Knight to really get a feel for Descartes' core idea. Then we'll build his argument step by step. After that, we're going to hit it with two major modern objections.
Right. Part 1. The unbeatable Black Knight.
You know the scene, right? He's guarding this tiny bridge. And one by one, his limbs get hacked off. But even when he's just a torso on the ground, he's still yelling threats, completely convinced that he's invincible. It's hilarious. But right there, that's where comedy bumps right into some deep philosophy. His body is literally being taken apart, piece by piece. But his mind, his sense of self as the Black Knight, that stays completely whole, totally defiant. And that is the exact starting point for Descartes' argument. He'd say, look, the body can be divided into parts, right? But the mind, the self, you can't divide that. Therefore, they can't possibly be the same thing. They must have fundamentally different properties. Okay, part 2, Descartes' big idea. Now, to properly understand and, more importantly, to critique this argument for your exams, we need to get our heads around two key concepts. These are the building blocks of the whole thing.
First step is substance dualism. Now, this is actually the conclusion Descartes is trying to prove. It's the idea that the universe is made of two totally different kinds of stuff. You've got physical stuff, what Descartes called extended substance because it takes up space, and then you've got mental stuff, or thinking substance, which is non-physical and doesn't take up any space.
The second idea is the logical engine that makes the whole argument run. It's called Leibniz's law. It sounds complicated, but it's really, really simple. If two things are actually the exact same thing, they have to share every single property. If you can find just one property that one has and the other doesn't, then boom, you've proven they're two different things. All right, part 3, the indivisibility argument. Here it is, laid out as a nice, clear, logical argument. So it works just like this. Premise 1, my body is divisible. You can chalk off an arm. Makes sense. Premise 2, my mind is indivisible. You can't have half a thought or a quarter of a feeling. It feels like one whole thing. Premise 3 is Leibniz's law, which we just covered. So the conclusion seems to follow logically. Since the mind and body have this different property, one is divisible, the other isn't, they must be two completely distinct substances. Okay, part 4. Response 1, divided minds. Now, that argument sounds pretty slick, but is it actually sound? The first major objection goes straight for the jugular. It attacks premise 2. It basically asks, hey, Renee, are you really so sure the mind is indivisible? And this is where we see a real head-on collision. Descartes, just by thinking about his own mind, concluded it was this unified, single thing. But modern science, by actually looking at the physical brain, has come back with, well, hold on. It looks like the mind can be divided in some pretty significant ways. And there's some really compelling evidence for this. I mean, think about cases of brain damage that can wipe out one specific mental function, like recognizing faces, while leaving everything else perfectly intact. Or look at split brain patients, where cutting the connection between the brain's two hemispheres can create what looks like two separate streams of consciousness in one person. You even have conditions like dissociative identity disorder, which seem to show a mind split into different personalities. All of this really chips away at Descartes' claim that the mind is this perfectly indivisible thing. Part 5, Response 2, Indivisible Physics. Now, this second objection is really clever because it attacks the other premise. It leaves the mind alone, and instead takes a closer look at Descartes' assumptions about the physical world. So, Descartes' first premise is that the body, and by extension all physical things, can be divided. Seems like common sense, doesn't it? You can always chop something into smaller and smaller pieces. Or can you? Well, modern physics isn't so sure about that. It turns out that when you get down to the most fundamental level of reality, things get weird. Can you have half a photon, or slice an electron in two? What about a force field? You can't just have half of a magnetic field. It seems like the basic building blocks of our physical universe might themselves be indivisible. And that is the killer blow from this line of attack. If it's possible for something to be both physical and indivisible, then Descartes' entire argument just crumbles. The mind's indivisibility would no longer be proof that it's non-physical. For all we know, the mind could just be another one of these strange, indivisible, physical things.